How are you doing? This is Martin from Gardens for Life. We're going to give you a quick update just on our garden that's on the south facing wall. And we planted it about 5 or 6 weeks ago, as you probably know from the other video that we made on how we actually made the garden itself. And we'll give you a little update to see how things are actually growing here. You know, in the last 4 days we went from 15 degrees Celsius to 25 and in 2 days, and then 2 days later again today it's down to about 13 degrees or 14. So we went from jacket to shorts and t-shirt back to jacket within a matter of 4 days. How about that for some crazy weather at the end of July or June, sorry. Keep thinking it's July. At the end of June. Please don't forget, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, because that helps them to do well on YouTube and more people get to see them. Thanks very much. We have been involved in lots of little projects now, mostly on our own land due to the quarantine, but hopefully we can get back to extending this particular garden on along the wall all the way, as much space as we have, and I'll show you that now. Here we've actually started this is where the compost pile was actually left for about 6 months, and you can see we've already loosened up the compost here a little bit, and there's about a foot worth of compost, almost, maybe 8 to 10 inches more in most areas. And you can see we planted whatever pumpkin plants we've got, and a few more bits and pieces like oca, and potatoes are going in too. It might be a little bit late for potatoes at this point, and so even for pumpkins, but you know, that's all we have. We didn't really have space to put them anywhere else. And here's the garden. We're going to extend it on here all the way along the wall. The garden itself is actually about 17 meters long and about 4 meters wide on average. And the first 3 beds are actually corn, but you can see they get blown over by the wind and they've been battered by frost and drought. It's really not an easy year to grow corn now. It's not been a good year for us anyway, even though this is a fairly hardy variety called Northern Extra Sweet. We will just try to keep them upright and we'll see how we go. They might be okay. And so any gaps that end up occurring with the corn especially, we just plant something else in between. For example, there's actually some yacon here. It's going to grow to about the same height as the corn. This is actually not a very tall corn. It's about 1.5 meters is all it's going to reach when it matures. And I'll just show you some of the other varieties of mashua we also planted here, and some over here where the wall is, just to put hazelwood sticks actually up against the wall so they can climb them, because it'll save space, and also they like the heat as well from the rocks, so they can grow right into December, which they most of the time do anyway, even if you just let them climb up a south-facing bush, basically. We even have some box hedging at home where we let the mashua climbers, like a tuberous nasturtium, we let them climb on the north side of the box hedging, and they do fine, and they produce like crazy. I mean, we've taken out maybe a couple of buckets worth of tubers last winter, from just a few plants. Now, I'll just show you here, this is some of the onions. These are actually Stuttgarter Riesen, or giants. And you can see here, they're all doing very well, although they don't look very presentable at the moment, just because the wind has been battering them. I put down a whole row of carrot seeds, and you can see very few of them actually came up. So I'm going to probably re-sow those, or maybe even sow some more in a different bed. I've got some here. Probably going to plant these autumn kings just over there in a small area, and I also got some, well, lots of echinacea, purple echinacea seeds. I'm going to just do an experiment and plant a few just randomly into the bed itself, see if they'll grow, and we can transplant them later when they're turning into small seedlings. These are actually some green broccoli called Waltham, and that's the variety. And you can see they might be a little bit too densely sown, but even if we get some caterpillar damage, we'll be okay. There is one now. I don't actually kill the caterpillars. We just basically move them, away. If you have a leaf full of caterpillars, such as this one here, all I do with that is I just basically walk away from my brassicas or the cabbage family plants and just throw it somewhere into the middle of the grass. They can eat something else other than our cabbage. They can finish off what leaf they're on, but that's about all I'll give them. But I do like to have butterflies around. They're actually native pollinators, so it's really important to actually not just kill off all of the caterpillars. I mean, I know it's frustrating when they eat some of your vegetables, but we don't mind actually sharing a few of our leaves of our brassicas, especially because we have the Portuguese kale, which grows year after year. It's such a strong plant. It just keeps growing quicker than the caterpillars can actually eat them. So hopefully we'll get a crop of broccoli from these. We're very excited about this one. In the next 2 months, actually. These are about 5 weeks old now, and they went in as seedlings, as you will probably see in the other video. I'd highly recommend you watch the other video of how we actually planted this up. And I mean, we could even eat some of the scallions here now if we don't get the onions, but they'll be okay. It's only the end of July or June now, so there's very few weeds actually occurring here in these beds because I actually took out some of them already. Unfortunately, I used old wood chips that were sitting in the middle of the field, and some weed seeds got into them over time, probably at the end of last season, and I should have used fresh wood chips instead. So we'll just, we'll just do that, basically, just get rid of them, and they'll be okay. So here we have a special variety of potatoes called Uach, it's UACH, and I bought that one from Poland, actually, and it's supposed to be a really good one. We'll see how it goes. We have plenty of plants. Hopefully we can multiply them and even offer them to you guys. Here we have a special variety of, that's actually a Bloody Tears Mashua. We also have Amarillo. Really nice one. Nice colour to it. It's kind of a golden colour with red kind of stripes on them. You can see here how easy it is to pull up even fern plants. We will just show you here. I mean, that's you just exhaust the weeds by keeping on pulling them up. I mean, for the first month or two you will have a bit of work to do here, just because you can see there's a lot of ferns coming through, but that's because the ferns were completely taken over this area previously, when we basically put cardboard down on top of perennial weeds that have been here for about 10, 20, 30 years, and we were basically smothering them, bit by bit. We're working on it, and we will probably just do maybe 10 minutes of weeding here once a month for the next 3 months. And I think once we've done that and it slows down then for the winter, the growing season coming to an end in September or slowing down, I think we'll be okay after that. Then I don't think the weeds will come through. Very few of them will actually come through. They're easy to pull up because it's no dig, it's just a very malleable soil. Well, it's pure compost basically, but as a growing medium, it just goes, it's really easy to pull up plants, which doesn't help with labels. As you probably have seen in my previous video, the birds keep pulling up the labels because they're either orange or blue, which they think is food for some reason. So we got to use black labels so they don't see them, but then we can't find the labels either. So but anyway, we will persevere. These are called Ullucus. Is a different variety from the other ones we had. Here's some potatoes. These are just ordinary potatoes that I got in Lidl. They're organic, and I don't remember the name of the variety, but I have the packet at home. Here's some broad beans. These are Imperial Long Pod is the name of them. That's the variety, and you'll see that they're very successful. I don't know why they didn't do as well up here. There's the same amount of compost here, but I think they germinated a little bit later. But you can see here, it was very dry, 2.5 months there basically we had a drought. You can see they're getting fairly substantial now. I mean, Most people's broad beans are miles ahead of these ones, but these were only planted 5 weeks ago, and bear in mind that we were kind of behind a little bit when it comes to actually getting the growing space ready and actually putting the seedlings out here. These were planted directly or sowed directly by hand. So these ones here are ochas. You can see they're doing really well. We planted them directly without actually starting them in the greenhouse, in trays or in pots even. We'll try and pull up while I'm here, do a bit of casual weeding, as what you call it, Patrick Whitefield always used to call it. Jacob, no walking on the beds, please. You must have seen me stepping over the bed. But you don't have legs long enough to step over the 75 centimeter standard bed. Let me have a look at the label. That is the pink variety from our friend Frank in Belgium. He was breeding oca for a long time. This is 1422. From 3 little tiny tubers, one of the plants actually turned into 2 kilos of oca tubers, which I have a picture of actually on a scale, of a tray on the scale. And they did so well that we planted them out again, and let's see what's going to happen. We only had 3 plants last year of this particular variety, and it's a lovely pink oca variety that actually was bred in Belgium by our friend Frank. He was breeding them for a long time. He had about 80 varieties of oca, and half of them unfortunately died in the summer with the drought 2 years ago when it was the heat waves. Even in Ireland we had a heat wave too of 30 degrees. I'm sure you all remember. This one here is actually tiger nuts. That's what they are. It's a variety of grass that grows a nut. Unfortunately, it looks like somebody is after the nuts. Probably mice, or I don't know if it's birds, but somebody appears to be eating the nuts. I even had a bad dream one day that all of the nuts, all the plants were ripped up. I mean, look, these ones here have been ripped up, and that plant has basically become useless. We'll try and plant it back in the ground, but I might even move half of these up today into our own garden, which is patrolled by our cats at the back of the house. And here is some more ochas, a different variety. And here we have more radishes. These are the long white icicles. We've been given some neighbours, actually, whoever we meet out here walking by the garden, we just give them some radishes. Jacob, you can harvest a radish too. Find one.
You.
Yeah, you can find one.
You.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we'll wash that later now. We'll bring it over here. Now, I want to show you some bigger ones. There's geez, that's a very big one. I never had one that big now. That one has a few spots on it though, but that's okay. We'll cut those off, cut them away. And here's a fern, which we're not going to eat. We'll pull that up, and we will exhaust the ferns eventually. But that's actually been the first kind of crop that we managed to harvest from here. Of course, radish is like one of the fastest growing crops in the world, and a really nice flavour off this one as well. Not too spicy, but still fairly pungent.
Look at this one.
Yeah, you can pull up another couple. Yeah, show me that one. Show me. Let me put it here with the other ones. Can I have that one? And this one. Give me that one. No. Yeah, no, you can see sometimes they go to seed, which they start kind of shooting up with a stalk.
Whoa.
Oh, you got one. Good boy, thank you. We have enough here for today now. But you can see I accidentally planted a few too many radishes. You should really plant them in succession, which means plant a few every 2 weeks, and you'll have them. We also planted some rocket seed in between, which is not doing as well as we'd hoped, but we've got plenty of radishes. You can see the garden is really clean, and there's a few little bits of grasses on the paths, but that's okay. We'll get those out, and we know that's from the seeds that were in the wood chips. But we're also trying to keep the grass around this garden very low. You can see here, over here, on this side, I actually mowed the grass here yesterday using a hedge clipper, a professional level petrol hedge trimmer or clipper, and in order to stop the grasses from blowing their seeds over here with the wind, because that's the west side, and we want to try and avoid that as much as we can. And here too, we will still put down more compost here and finish that last bed. We didn't get that far, and cover this plastic here, which is the grass barrier, all along the side of the bed, with wood chips, so that we have a nice walkway, a nice path. But we'll probably extend the beds a little bit more to accommodate the other space here, this other bed, so that we have a nice smooth curve alongside of this beautiful famine wall from 1930s, 40s, we believe. We don't know exactly when the wall was built and by whom, but we know that it's quality workmanship, which you probably cannot find these days easily. We know that we try to repair it over here, but you can see it's really not an easy job. I don't know how they did it, but I have every respect for the people that built this wall, and we appreciate having it here because it's catching the sunlight and it's reflecting it back at night, and also reflecting some of it just in the form of light, but also heat at night, as I said. And we're going to grow up a load of heat-loving plants along the edge here. That's the long-term plan. At the end of every bed, we're going to plant a fig tree or a grapevine or a hardy kiwi vine. All different types of fruits we're going to grow all along this hedge here. We'll try and get rid of that ivy because it's going to drop seeds on us. Here is some New Zealand red yacon, which if you've seen the yacon videos, which is Y-A-C-O-N is how it's spelled. If you've seen these plants, when they become mature, they look beautiful. And they've got these huge giant leaves, very tropical looking plant. And the tubers are delicious all winter. We've been digging them up all winter and eating them, and they're awesome. This is another variety. This is a white one, and this is the New Zealand red. And here's a fern, which we don't want. So easy to pull up. Here's 3 courgette plants, which we probably have too many of in the other garden, but we just filled up this space for now. And if there's any neighbours walking by on the road, they're very welcome to come in and take some if they like. We better not forget these radishes. We'll bring them later on the way back. But as you can see, it's doing very well. How many beds have we got now? We'll count the last one, the last bit of square. Each of these beds is 75 centimeters or 2.5 foot wide, and as you can see, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 beds plus 1 which is not fully developed yet. So about 15 beds, and it's certainly pumping out a lot of food, which we haven't really been enjoying yet, other than the radishes. But there is a lot to come, and some of the crops are even perennial, such as the tiger nuts, but we'll probably transplant those to protect them. And the potatoes, sometimes we leave some in the ground and they actually come back too. But as I said, these beds are versatile spaces that we'll use to just basically grow whatever vegetables we feel like growing in any given year. But maybe even grow some more exotic things later, like some of the tubers, for example, for the winter. Maybe even some perennial flowers or some vegetables. Maybe even rhubarb would be nice too. We will have some beds where we're just gonna plant rhubarb, and use it as we go. We have a variety of rhubarb called Glasgow Perpetual. We've been growing it for the last 3 years, and it's really good, really nice flavour. And You can harvest it any time. It's the only variety that actually doesn't, where the poison from the leaves, the oxalic acid I believe it is, some sort of an acid, it doesn't actually travel back down into the stalks after midsummer. So you can eat these any time of the growing season, which is brilliant. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that update on this garden, and if you have any questions, please let us know. We might even do a quick questions and answers live session on Facebook about this garden in particular, but we will be doing one on the pizza garden, as we call it, which is our newest project. If you look into our videos, you'll see it there straight away. It's kind of just a garden in the shape of a pizza, with kind of like garden beds are like pizza slices with wood chip pats in between. So we'll also give you a tour of our the rest of our garden sometime soon. It would just be too long of a video if we were to include all of the gardens in one go. We'd probably have to make about a 3 or 4 hour video, literally, even if I didn't talk so much. But here you go, you can see this garden here is like the wood chip island, that's what we call it. And you can see here that there is a number of different plants here, all kinds of different rare plants, some not so rare, and even horseradish. We have special varieties of blueberries and gooseberries, and the strawberries. You should see the strawberries here. This is actually a marshmallow plant, which we're starting loads of from seed. If you guys are interested, we will have some for sale in our plant sale coming up. Here are some strawberry plants, and you can see they're shooting. They're actually growing into making babies and growing new plants using their suckers. And we have more strawberries over here, which we planted a year ago. You can see they're doing really well. We even have some strawberries here. But anyway, we will give you an update later, and we'll give you a tour of this garden sometime soon when we get a chance. Thanks for watching, and please give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Bye bye.
I'm gonna have.
You like strawberries. Where do they come from? Where are the strawberry plants? Yeah, just here, right in front of our feet. We don't even have to buy the ones from Wexford, and these are better. We have loads of them at home. Yay, another one. No, wait. Here. And it's gone. What's that?
Thank you.
Kale. You like kale? Is it good?
No.
Very good. You like to eat kale? Tell you now. Just need to show them where to get it, and they can find it.
Mom.